This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Here you get a sneak peek look at my CrossFitians I've been working with. This is Charlie Zamora, who owns Warrior CrossFit, or Warriors CrossFit with a Z. He is in Roseville, I believe. We also have Blair Morrison wearing the funky tie-dye there. He owns CrossFit Anywhere. We have Travis Cassidy, who's an owner of East Sacramento CrossFit. And I've been working with some of these guys for a couple of months now. And it's been great to have them implement some powerlifting movements. And it's great to get feedback from them that their times are improving, their CrossFit times are improving, their cleans, their snatches are improving. And each guy's getting a little better at various movements that we're not even practicing. So when they go back to those movements, when they start to implement some of those other movements again, you can rest assured that they'll even have more room for improvement as they improve their technique. Here, we're strictly working on strength. I don't do any Olympic lifting with them whatsoever. It's all powerlifting movements. And you can see there Ben Alderman, who owns a CrossFit in Natomas, and he actually just bought a CrossFit in Woodland, so he owns 2 CrossFits now. Was actually going with an illegal head maneuver there. We were shooting some photos on this day for Power Magazine, thepowermagazine.com. We had Kelly Starrett write an article about how important neutral head positioning was, and we wanted to illustrate that Pez dispenser look that some people get when they do a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift. And so we had Sam McDonald's son in to shoot some, or Jim McDonald's son, Sam, shoot some photos on this day. And Jim himself is shooting the footage, as always. So here, you know, with the lighter weights during the warm-up, you're not really seeing any breakdown in form. Everyone's doing pretty good. Blair is probably the strongest one in the group, at least when it comes to squat. He recently has squatted, I believe, 440 or 435, something like that. But we've gotten him up in strength by about 20 pounds so far in a short period of time. This is Arturo Fernandez, and I want to apologize to everyone on behalf of SuperTraining.tv for those short shorts. We don't really know what happened. Arturo was he was an Army Ranger, so we really don't ask him too many questions. He kind of has that, there's that head position we were talking about, the Pez dispenser. Charlie Zamora, I don't even think was doing it intentionally, but the weights are getting heavier. This is around 335 pounds, 340 pounds, something like that. It's a heavy bar. And there are those short shorts again. But like I said, this guy was an Army Ranger, so we don't really ask him too many questions. I'm not sure what he was rangering when he was wearing those shorts, but it can't be positive. There's Big Head Ben, as we call him, BHB, hitting up a squat. Charlie Zamora is going here. He's a much taller athlete, so he struggles with the squat. You can see how overextended he gets there and how he tilts that head way back, does that Pez dispenser look we talked about earlier. For you taller athletes out there that want to use your height as an excuse, though, realize that you'll get better leverages when you go to deadlift. Having longer limbs and longer arms can sometimes be an advantage in the case of the deadlift. So you may struggle with one lift, but you may make it up with another. Here's Blair Morrison going again. Really good form. You can see the baby giraffe knees caving in a little bit. Blair is also known as the baby giraffe, the supple leopard. Blair has done outstanding as a CrossFitian, both on the local level and at the CrossFit Games. I believe his top finish is, I think he's finished 5th before, about 2 years ago. And last year, he struggled at regionals and wanted to make some changes to his training, try to improve himself, get himself better, so he can come in and try to get a better position this time around. Ben Alderman has also competed at regionals. I believe he finished 8th or 9th. You can see these guys are doing some deadlifts. This is very common. Have these guys squat and deadlift on the same day. Here's Blair going again. You see those knees coming in a little bit, but still good form. Good way to push into those squats. Perhaps his eye line is down a little bit too low. Not his eyeliner, but his eye line is down a little bit too low. Maybe he needs to raise that chin up just a little bit and have the eyes a little higher. Here's Travis Cassidy going with another good strong squat. Travis is very powerful. We just have to kind of tap into his form and mix his form with the way that he's kind of built, and we can get him squatting some pretty big weights, squatting over 4 and pulling over 5. I'm sure of it. And there's Ben Alderman going again. So it's very common for me to have these guys do deadlifts and squats in the same day. Sometimes the squats are taken heavy and the deadlifts are taken kind of light, or vice versa, depending on the week. Or sometimes they go heavy on both, or sometimes it's a little bit more of a speed type of pull and a speed squat. Kind of just depends on the week, depends on what they did. There's Arturo going in those disgusting shorts once again. Not sure why he did that to us. This is 425 now that they got on there. Trying to have Ben keep that neutral head position. You can see me yelling at him. But when your head starts to come unraveled, it really causes a lot of dysfunction in that lower back, and just the butt comes up, and you just end up in this, you just end up with some weird curvature to your spine. It's almost like it does the exact opposite of what you want it to do. You're trying to keep your head up because you're trying to keep your chest up, and you're trying to keep your spine neutral. But by having your head up like that, a lot of times it just creates overextension and puts your body just a really awkward position. So you want to try to keep it neutral. There's Ben getting a little crazy on that last rep. Good strong pull by him though. And here's Blair going. Blair's a little gassed from those squats. And he does well here. I've also been having these guys pull from different ranges, different heights. Deficit pulls, block pulls, some different movements like that. And there's a good move right there by a veteran lifter, somebody who knows their body. He felt his back round over, felt his back give out a little bit, and just let go of the barbell. There's no reason to get hurt in this situation. This is just training. We are trying to push the envelope at the same time. This is a means to get to a competition. And so if they're going to get hurt anywhere, it would be in competition when you're going full blast, not in training. So now I just have them doing some bent over rows. That's something that a lot of the CrossFitters that I run into are not doing. And I always encourage them to do is to do a lot of rowing motions, a lot of back motions, almost like a lot of bodybuilding type of movements. The bodybuilding movements are going to help build hypertrophy. A bigger muscle oftentimes will be a stronger muscle. And so that's why we work on this kind of stuff. Doing heavy rowing has been associated with huge deadlifts over the years. Anyone who's got a big deadlift usually does a lot of back work or has a huge back as a result of deadlifting huge weights. There's a lot of different ways of doing these rows. For myself personally, I like to come up off the ground a little bit with them and then go into the pull. A little bit like what they're doing there, but I just like to use my lower back a little bit more on those. Now we have these guys doing some planks in between some of the other stuff they're doing. And these are chain planks. This is something that I kind of developed, and it's just something that we like to do. We load up about 100, 120 pounds of chain, sometimes more. Sometimes we kick the guy, sometimes we move the chains around a little bit, try to create some instability, try to really mess with the guy while he's on there. And then you see now I threw a 25-pound plate on top as well. Arturo with that military background, he ain't going anywhere. He's not going to fold up over nothing. Very, very tough individual. Very strong guy. Doesn't have the greatest form, but he's got the right mindset for it. And he owns a CrossFit as well, if I didn't mention that already. I believe in South Sacramento. So each one of these guys is a gym owner, and it's an honor and a privilege to have them come to me. These guys are top-level coaches in the area, but yet they're still coming to me for some strength training, which I just think is a lot of fun and ends up being just a very positive environment working with these guys. I've learned so much from working with these guys that it's helped my training. It's helped myself as a coach as well. And here's Ben. Ben is tough as nails as well. These guys are tough. You know, they don't look like much because they're skinny. Because they're in shape, you might not think that they're tough, but these guys are tough. You know, and a lot of times, you know, we're not giving these guys credit for their strength. Guys are squatting 400, pulling 550, and oftentimes it's with no belt and it's with no stomach. They don't have a big belly under them the way that some stumpy powerlifters do, but they're still able to hit some pretty good weights in a squat and a deadlift. So this type of movement, what I've learned from this is that it really just, any sort of static ab movement seems to be an awesome movement. I don't want to say superior necessarily, but seems to be an awesome movement for strength. So anytime you do a sit-up and you hold it, anytime you do a leg lift and you hold it, anytime you do a plank like this, weighted, and you hold it, I believe side bends, things like that, any sort of static contraction you can get in an ab type movement, sit-up type movement, is going to be extremely beneficial in terms of strength. So right there, now we're loading him up pretty good. He's got up over 200 pounds on him, and really trying to just put the nail in his coffin there, but he's not giving up. He's staying with it. You can see the weights are now sliding off into his ass. That must have felt great, especially in those short little booty shorts he was wearing. But, a key factor with work in your stomach is it just needs to be done. Not enough people are getting to it. People ignore it. They feel like, I'm getting enough stability training from, doing heavy squats and doing heavy cleans, heavy snatches, and front squats, and so forth. Sometimes that's the case, but oftentimes they're just not getting enough direct work, and it's important to make sure they get some direct work. If you did 8 or 10 sets of front squats, and you probably don't need to really work your stomach for that particular day. However, working your stomach, just like you would work any other muscle, working it hard pretty much at least once a week is a good place to start. You can see Ben here doing pretty well with it. Pushing against it is what you want to try to do, and try to flatten your back out and not let your back sag inward. You want to try to push against it. Like I said earlier, this is a tough movement. Being able to hold these type of contractions kind of mimics some of the things that you're doing when you're doing heavy squats and heavy deadlifts. So that's how I train my CrossFitters. The secret's out, and that is it from supertraining.tv.